What's going on, my friends? Welcome on out to Behind the Energy Podcast, where we dive into behind the scenes of DJing, entrepreneurship, and all the excitement in between. We got some friends, some cool people joining us, and a lot of fun stories. So without further ado, let's jump into Behind the Energy Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of Behind the Energy Podcast, episode number 30. And we got the one and only DJ Bangarang in the house right now.
Sir.
What's up?
How you doing, bro?
You look too comfy right now.
Listen, this couch is like really nice. Like, I bet you guys sleep here, because I would. Like, this is a very comfortable couch.
He's got multiple compliments from the couch thus far.
This is a very nice couch.
Bang, welcome, bro. I really appreciate you making it.
Man, thanks for having me. I listened to you and E-Rock's episode, and I was like, man,
Thank you.
I hope he invites me on.
What? Dude, honestly, so you listen to the episode, I was nervous to ask E-Rock, and I was nervous to ask you too.
Why?
We hadn't talked in forever.
So
it's been a minute.
It has been a while, but
you're crushing it.
Thank you.
You're doing a lot, and that's intimidating sometimes.
I mean, I guess I just don't realize it, but thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Do you I wasn't planning on asking this. Do you find yourself taking a moment to reflect on like the growth that you've had, even just in the past 2-3 years of your DJing?
Definitely.
Your career?
Definitely.
You do? Okay.
There was actually recently I was leaving San Diego heading to Boise, and I had a layover in Seattle, but like it was like a 2-hour flight. But like it was just I was caught up in the moment, in my feelings, whatever. But like we were just 30,000 feet up in the air. I'm like, man, what the is this? Like,
what are you doing? Yeah, you're chilling.
Yeah, but like, what is this? You know, it's like to actually get paid. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm not gonna go into any details.
I hear you. I hear you.
To like do this, you know what I'm saying? It's different. It's different, and it's like, all right.
Back-to-back night, different states.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to talk more about that. I wanted to ask that question because that really taking the time to reflect and accept the growth and the success was something that I believe really held back my DJing and also accelerated the recent growth of my DJing. But I don't feel like we did a real formal introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DJ Bangarang. Ryan Chisolm, I got that right.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Bang, I remember being in high school and seeing flyers and hearing about DJ Bangarang, like at the complex and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just remember like you causing waves when I was young. You, E-Rock, and Handsome Hands, and Latu were like some of the bigger names that I remember hearing.
Definitely.
Diz, I think, as well. Oh gosh, I had a thought before. I got a few notes to make sure my thoughts are organized. But Bang has been in the game for a hot minute now. He has got his own show on air with U92, Utah's #1 hip hop radio station. Full-time DJ, selling out and getting booked at all the biggest clubs in Utah, downstairs, Sky, you name it.
Yes.
So yeah, this is DJ Bangarang, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Seriously, bro, it's really wild and dope to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Where do I want to go next? In the episodes, I've always done a little introduction to how we initially met, to provide a little bit more context for the listeners, the viewers. And really, as I was reflecting and kind of planning out some things to talk about, one of the things that came to mind was when U92 had that DJ competition right off the freeway, right off the I-80 going, east-west. And it was my first year in college. I remember just leaving class. I had my backpack, and I wasn't planning on mixing at all. But I remember sitting there just on the side, just kind of being a fly on the wall. And you and No H were kind of doing some coordinating, and you said, Parker, you should get up there, bro. You should give it a go. I'm like, hell no, bro. There's so many great DJs in here. I don't have anything prepared. And you nudged me again, and I pulled some tracks out of my ass and gave it a go. It was probably one of the scariest 5 minutes of my life, but
you did it.
But you encouraged me to do it, man. Seriously. And since then, I've been able to. I mean, this was quite a few years ago now, but since then, I've been able to spend some time and grow with U92, the radio station, and one of the other components in that time growing was spending time working with you. For a couple months, I was doing mixes, and I'd go to your place, or you'd listen to them, and you'd give me feedback, and you'd mentor me on ways of cleaning up or improving my transitions and my mixing. You remember that?
Yeah,
I remember when you invited me over to your house.
Yeah. I do. Yeah, that was my old spot. Yeah, that's crazy.
Are you still downtown?
Yeah. Well, I'm a little bit out of downtown now.
A little more south, or
yeah, a little bit more south.
Okay.
But yeah, that's crazy.
You open those doors for me, man. Like that. Had you not encouraged me to do it, I don't know if I'd have much involvement or any involvement.
Wow.
With the station. I'm serious.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never thought about it like that. That's crazy.
I'm being dead serious, dude.
Damn.
And okay, so I have to
real quick.
I have to throw this out there too. So if you're not a DJ, this might not make sense. I'm gonna explain it. There's these things called record pools. It's basically like an iTunes or a Spotify, but designed for DJs. You can get clean, explicit hype edits, remixes, intros, outros, and you pay a subscription and you download them. I thought those are like dated, like from like the 80s or the 90s, where like you just pay a subscription, you get some CDs sent to your house every month. I thought they were so out of date, and I remember we were doing kind of like almost like coaching or whatever, consulting with these mixes.
Yeah.
And the first time you listen to it, you're like, Parker, you don't use record pools, do you? I'm like, no, dude. I thought that's like for outdated DJs.
Thanks, Grandpa Bang over here.
No, Uncle. That's not what I'm getting at, dude. That's not what I'm getting at. But I remember going on to BPM Supreme that same day, and my mind was like blown. Like, this is cheating for DJs.
A little bit.
It's not, but that's what it felt like. If you're a DJ and you don't use a record pool, go check out one.
Yeah, go check out a record pool, especially if you're a DJ.
Sorry, I genuinely thought that was funny because it like made my mind just like. So, anyways, Bang, we're done talking about me. Let's hear the Bang story. I remember school at UVU and potentially a culinary degree. I remember this conversation from Twist.
Yeah.
And a fraternity.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the journey.
All right. So 2011, I moved out here from Missouri. Born and raised in Missouri. I rushed Kappa Sigma, but at the time we were a colony in Utah County at UVU. The chapter doesn't exist anymore. They ran it into the ground. But we were a colony and we wanted to throw these parties, but we couldn't afford a DJ. But like even back in Missouri, like whenever we threw house parties or something, I was always the person. Oh, yo, get music.
Queuing up tracks.
Yeah, like always. I at that time we had iPods.
Yeah.
I always had the iPod. You know.
You had your iPod in your phone, and then your wallet.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like the 32 gigabyte iPod. Like you used to watch TV on those things. Like no joke.
Yeah.
But I was always that guy, and then it kind of like led into that, and then I don't remember how exactly it happened, but like I got turned on to dance music. Like I was really, this was 2011, so like that, like house music was at its peak. Dubstep was like bubbling, but it was really like all the big room shit like Alesso and Deadmau5, and you know, actually the first time I played Deadmau5, I called him Deadmau5. Like I was that brand new to it. But
I love that.
Yeah.
Did you realize you had made the mistake when you did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like somebody like corrected me. Like they kind of like threw shade at me and like roasted me. But like, you know, like a lot of DJs nowadays, I started off using. I had this. In fact, I think I still have it. I had this little piece of crap like Dell computer, nothing
Yeah.
with virtual DJ.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like that was how I got into it.
Yeah.
But you know, like I said, like I was doing that, but because like my music, like I thing about me is like I'm not your typical DJ. Like, and I don't mean to brag, but I'm gonna
No.
talk my shit for a minute.
Yeah.
I play a
Please.
lot of different rooms.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll play. You'll catch me at Karma. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Playing all hip hop shit, but then you'll
Mhm.
catch me at Downstairs or Sky or
Mhm.
recently Flanker playing more EDM open format stuff.
Mhm.
And that's something that I kind of pride myself on. Like I don't like to stick to one specific genre.
Hmm.
But because I was able to do that, I was able to um, really appease everybody. Like when we were throwing these little house parties and whatnot, these little functions,
Mhm.
you as you may call it or will
Yeah.
call it
Yeah.
in Utah County. Um, but from there, like one thing just kind of led to another. Like I remember my first job was at Brick Oven, and like I saved up my paychecks and I got a controller. It's this little tiny Mix Track Pro
Mix Track Pro,
Newmark.
dude. Almost every DJ who's been here got a Mix Track Pro,
Yeah,
aside from you, Rock.
yeah. Aside from me, right?
Yeah, you get it.
But like that little like it was like $200. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
XYZ.
Yeah.
Um, then I met some homies. Actually, Ricky,
Yeah.
Ricky Barrera. That's my guy.
Yeah.
Like we used to like we were. I'm not gonna say like rivals per se, but like we were like he was doing his thing, I was doing my
In
thing.
Utah County,
Yeah,
similar age. Yeah.
in Utah County,
Yeah.
because you know
Yeah.
like. But anyways, like, um, then one thing like from there once again it just kind of snowballed. I ended up becoming an RA at Wolverine Crossing.
You were an RA, bro.
I was the RA, bro. Listen,
Let's go.
listen. We'll talk about that off air. We won't talk about that. But yes, this is a true story. I was an RA at Wolverine Crossing, and shout out Wolverine Crossing one time. But I used to DJ all their events and stuff, and
That's dope.
there was a Wise Guys in there that like under it was in the bottom of Building B. I think there's like a call center or something in there. It's the building closest to the gas station, but they would let me throw parties in there.
Really?
Yeah, so like
You didn't
free
have to rent it out or
parties.
anything?
No, like I would just throw parties in there. We just had to get speakers.
$5 a pop.
Yeah, like we literally
Quarter of your tuition's paid for in one
exactly.
Saturday night, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, we didn't charge cover. That was the deal.
Yeah? You're just throwing parties.
Yeah, we were just throwing parties,
Dude, I bet that was so fun.
bro.
Is freshman, sophomore.
yeah,
I bet that was popping.
exactly,
Yeah.
bro. You talk about crazy. Like
Yeah.
it was fun, but once again, it taught me a lot. Like we had a bunch of different DJs come through, XYZ, blah blah blah. Like I knew some people who ran sound, so like I didn't really have to because we weren't charging anything. They were just like, yo, just take care of the equipment, and you know, like I really, there's this guy Alan Wilberg. Shout out to him. Like really instrumental. Jason Young as well. Like these guys were really instrumental to me, like coming up because like we would do these parties and we would do these events, and then they would just kind of like, yo, like you're the young homie, like you can use this.
That's awesome. You had built that great relationship early on,
exactly,
and they were very supportive of what you're doing.
exactly.
Gotcha.
Like that was it, and then like it kind of like it got to a point to where like I had started meeting people within student governments, and next thing I know, like I'm DJing, you know, the green out dance. I think that's the welcome back dance at UVU. Like I'm DJing the green
the
out
Emerald
dance.
Ball?
I DJ'd the Emerald
Yeah,
Ball
yeah,
once or
yeah.
twice. There's a crazy story behind that one. That's an off air story though. um, but the next thing I know, like we're DJing the Halloween dance down there, which if you guys have ever been to
Huge.
the UVU Halloween dance, that's
Huge.
like 4,000 kids strong.
And as a college student yourself,
yeah,
like being a student at that school, that's a really
Yeah.
cool position to be in.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it was crazy. But like these things, like I look back on it as I'm thinking about it now, like these things kind of shaped me to be like the DJ who I am today. Because I mean, obviously anybody can rock a room full of 4,000 people, but not anybody can do it. Does that make sense? Like if you know what you're doing, you like if you have some type of DJ skill, you can do it. But like there's a certain type of skill like after you do it for a while of like knowing how to keep energy and knowing how to ebb and flow with it. People don't want to hear house music all night. People don't want to hear dubstep all night. People don't want to hear hip hop all night.
I gotcha.
Like you like DJing the bigger parties like that kind of taught me like, all right, this is how you kind of control a room. Like it taught
Mhm.
me crowd control, you know.
Mhm.
But a lot of that too, I need to give credit to like these smaller house parties or like these smaller UVU events that I were like, you know, like off campus things that I was doing
Mhm.
because, you know, through the fraternity once again, like we were able to do these things and then like I was DJing all the stuff for UVU, but we ended up we got chartered and it would have been November 2011. We got chartered in November 2011.
Hmm.
Bunch of guys from the they're gonna kill me. But
This gets back to him.
yeah, like the
Yeah.
Kappa Sig house at the U. I was like, yo, this guy's like sick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's a Kappa Sig. So like from there,
Ah, is that kind of how you transition from, being busy and growing in Utah County
mm-hmm,
to making it up to Salt Lake,
mm-hmm.
where it's
So
where it's at?
yeah, yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
So
okay.
like
I see the connection now. That makes sense.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I met those guys and they were same thing. They didn't have a DJ. But here I come at this point. I'm a few years in. I got my speaker plug.
Were you still
You
in
know what I'm
school?
saying? I was still I was part
Oh,
time
okay.
because I
Okay.
was also working too.
Gotcha.
Um so but they didn't have a DJ, you know. They
Mm-hmm.
had just a bunch of guys fighting over an iPod. And like my boy Josh Bennett, who he's a Kappa Sig, I'm actually DJing his wedding in a few weeks.
That's dope.
But like and I DJed a lot of those guys' weddings.
Hmm.
But he was like, "Yo, why don't you bring your stuff up and come play?" And I'm like, I mean, you know, like frat parties. Woo.
Oh.
you know. We don't need to talk about that right here. We can talk about that
Yeah.
off air. That's
Yeah.
a off air
Oh,
conversation.
Nick, will you take the camera, brother? Sorry. Bang. Maybe we can keep chatting, I guess.
Okay.
Dang it. Did it shut off on us?
I think it did.
Son of Okay, so we were chatting about that transition and getting introduced to the guys at Kappa Sig at the University of Utah.
Okay. So we got chartered in November of 2012. Excuse me, in November of 2011. That's when I moved out here, and from there I met a bunch of the Kappa Sigs, a bunch of them. And once again, they're like, "Oh man, this guy's dope. Why don't you come up and DJ?" So then I started DJing a bunch of their events, whether it was like any party they had.
You were there.
They called me. Any formal event, they called me. Like there was one formal they had in Park City, and like they covered everything for me. Got me a room, got me dinner.
They better have,
Like
dude.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, but it was cool. It was
Oh, of course.
like
Of
it was an
course.
experience. Never done anything like that in my life, you know. But it was cool and like it opened a lot of doors for me. And then through doing parties for them, next thing I know, I'm on Crimson Nights.
Yes,
you
you
know?
are. I remember. Do I
then-
remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, yo, you killed it in the new year. Why don't you come back for Halloween? You know what I'm saying? But all this time, like, Marcus Wing is still killing it. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Shout out Marcus Wing one time. 'Cause I learned
Yeah.
a lot. I learned a lot about like big room DJing from him. Like that man's mic presence is like he's really good at like getting a crowd hyped. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, one of my first big events was a DJ competition I won to DJ when he used to do the paint fights.
You won
And
that?
so I tied with this guy named Jordan Nelson. You
I know Jordan. Oh, Jordan's
Yeah.
a homie, bro.
Bro,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah. Jordan is so incredibly intelligent
Yeah, he is.
and so sharp.
yeah, he's a doctor. I know he's a dentist now. Florida.
He's been adulting big time and
Yeah.
taking a next step. But yeah,
Yeah.
Jordan Nelson, bro, and he's a
Yeah.
talented DJ too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great DJ. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that was actually fall of 2011 because in 2012 he went on his mission.
Aha.
And like we did a few events together. I think want to say January. We did a few events in January. Then he went on his mission in February, and he was like, "Yo, I got this mobile business, but when I come back, we're gonna work." I'm like, "All right, bet, whatever." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, 2 years is a long time.
yeah. 2 years is a lot of shit happens in 2
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. I hear you.
But anyways, but through the Kappa Sig guys, I got introduced to people at the university, and like they liked me, so I started doing events. You know, maybe once or twice a year for the U.
Yeah.
Splitting it up between myself or like Marcus and
But getting established in the Salt Lake Valley
yeah,
though.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
a different market, and you had
Exactly.
primarily been in Utah County, is what it sounds
Exactly.
like.
But all this time, I'm still doing my events in Utah County.
Oh,
So
meanwhile,
like, yeah, so I'm
okay,
doing both. Like
okay.
I'm like, so crazy story is I used to take a train up here. So literally the year the UTA train opened up, like that's when really like shit like started to take off for me.
And you're carrying
Yeah.
your controller
Yeah, like
or
like at
turntables.
yeah, like and at the time, like when before this though, I had like crushes and stuff who would like drive me back and forth. Like it was nice. Like just true story.
Yeah, no,
True story. No,
yeah,
I
yeah.
I was seeing this girl who she went to the U, but like she was down, like she was with it. So like she would come down and party. You know what I'm saying? And then either like stay the night or drive back up. But if I ever had a gig up there, she would literally drive down to Utah County,
Wow.
come pick me up, rain, sleet, or snow.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
cool though. I recognize it's many years ago, but that's
Yeah.
really cool.
Or like some of my
Yeah,
fraternity brothers as well. It's like, hey,
yeah.
you guys want to come to this party? Just, you know what I'm saying? Give me a ride up there.
Yeah, where's
I got to
the
carry
where's
some
the Uber
speakers.
at though?
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Yeah, this is pre Uber
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
Lyft.
yeah. I get you.
So, yeah, like that's how all that happened. And then, I want to say it was later in 2012. I met DJ Del Maggio.
Del Maggio.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like so before this though, I should shout this out. I was with this guy. Do you guys know DJ Drop? I
That
forgot his
sounds very
DJ name.
familiar. Yeah.
Like I forgot his DJ name now, but like we were this group called the Underdogs.
No way.
Yeah. So like what we would do is
Del
like,
Maggio drop and bang.
well, no, DiMaggio wasn't in it, but I
Okay.
met
Okay. Okay.
DiMaggio through Drop.
Okay.
Um, but it was so crazy. So me and Drop, what we would do is we would like stay up late listening to U92 and just like with mixes and all this shit. It was crazy,
That
bro.
makes me so happy, bro.
Like,
That's sick.
this is like
Back when Juggy was spinning on air,
yeah,
late at night.
him and like Handsome Hands,
Handsome
like,
Hands?
yeah, like
Yeah.
it was a Saturday night street mix.
Dude, that's
And
so dope.
we would just stay up like listening to these mix shows and like, oh, this is cool. And like Diz was on too.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, dude,
but
that's awesome.
yeah,
I'm just picturing you guys like early college,
Yeah.
college, and
It's like
and
2011.
just so stoked, like because. I mean, I'm sure there was some form of streaming platforms or mixed platforms out there, but not well known.
Exactly.
And you're hearing local DJs, very talented, spin live
On the radio.
on the radio.
Yeah, so
like
we
that.
had
That's
a
sick.
radio.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so Del Maggio, he was kind of like working with the radio station a little bit here and there, and like
Okay.
later in 2012, Drop and I kind of like split. We decided to go like our separate ways, because we just kind of just had personal differences as far as like where we wanted to go as a crew or
Yeah.
like as a DJ duo. I always kind of felt like, we needed to play more dance music because at the time, like David Guetta was like he had that run where he was putting out like Titanium.
Mm-hmm.
He had songs with Nicki Minaj, like songs that still work. What's that song? Make me come alive, come on and turn me on.
Turn me on.
Yeah. Turn
Yeah.
me on with Nicki Minaj. That shit was a slapper.
Mm-hmm.
I was like one of the first open format DJs, at least in Utah County, to play like dubstep and trap in my shit. Like I was playing Skrillex, and people were like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing?"
I
Like, nah,
love
but
that
like,
so much.
I love dubstep and trap as much as I love like actual trap music. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
hood music. Because once again, I grew up in that back in Missouri. So like,
Okay. So, sorry, I'm gonna have to
No, go
pause
ahead.
you.
Go ahead.
Where does the name Bangarang come from? Because if I'm being honest, like
Yeah.
when I started getting introduced to, dance music or going to like parties,
Mhm.
as very young,
Mhm.
high school, middle school,
Mhm.
it was Dead Mouse, it was Dot of Life, it was Skrillex.
Yeah.
And I remember
Yep.
Bangarang, the song Bangarang, coming
Yeah.
out by Skrillex in
Yeah.
like 2013.
It was
Maybe?
2012.
2012?
2012, 2011, yeah.
And I was curious if there was any correlation.
No.
I'm pretty sure. I think I knew that.
Yeah.
But help me understand. Give the listeners like an understanding of where that came from, where
So-
Bangarang came from.
Hook is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Like
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan Hook.
Yeah, Peter Pan Hook with Robin Williams. Rest in peace. Robin
Wow.
Williams, one of my favorite actors of all time.
Hmm.
And so Bangarang in it, they're like, be Bangarang, Peter, be Bangarang. But like the term Bangarang is actually a Jamaican slang term for causing a ruckus, being rowdy, XYZ. Because this is at the fight scene.
Yeah.
When they're like, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, Bangarang!
Did
That's
you?
why. That's where it comes from. And it's like, damn, like, I like that. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
So yeah, that's where that came from.
Thank you. Sorry,
No, you're
I had to
good.
jump in.
You're good.
Please continue. So the kind of creative differences.
Yeah. Creative differences, but like, you know, that's my guy to this day. Like I owe a lot. I mean, I owe a lot to a lot of people because like, you know, he once again he introduced me to Del Maggio, who then like we started kind of working together. But then Del Maggio introduced me to this guy named DJ Jarvicious. And that man taught me so much. Like Del Maggio taught me shit. Like I owe a lot to Del Maggio because you know he put me on game. I'll never forget. He told me I had this Newmark NS7, and he was like, "You want to be taken serious as a DJ? You gotta get off this controller. You gotta learn how to spin vinyl." And there's nothing against controller DJing at all.
Yeah.
But like learning how to spin vinyl or learning how to play on CDJs can be the single most important thing you can do as a DJ. And I'll tell you why. It's because you have to be multifaceted. You have to be universal. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to show up to like this top nightclub with your controller when the majority of DJs play on CDJs.
Yeah.
You know,
Everyone but you.
everyone but you.
No, I know
They're
exactly what you're talking about, dude.
Like they're gonna look at you crazy. Like once again, not shitting on controllers. I have a controller. I use it for my mobile gigs. I'll even take it to some of my club gigs from time to time.
Yeah.
You know, because it's convenient. Especially like nobody wants to take a lift with turntables and all this extra gear and shit. It's just a lot.
No, that's
you know?
3, and it's 3 times the weight.
Exactly.
Too.
Like it's like 100 pounds of gear.
Yeah. No, seriously. Yeah.
Like it's 100 pounds of gear. But he was like, hey, if you ever want to be taken serious as a DJ, you need to, you know what I'm saying? Like get off this.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, bet. So I kind of set up, go, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get there. And then shout out to Alan Wilberg and Jason Young. They were working a lot together at the time. And I did kind of like a work for, because Alan had this old Behringer like DDM 4000 mixer. I still have it. I still use it for parts sometimes. But he was like, hey, you can have this, but in change, DJ some events for me. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like a work to pay this off thing. And I'm like, all right, bet. It.
Yeah.
So I already got like half the battle out the way. Now I just got to get turntables. Well, I met this guy, DJ Licious. That was his name. DJ Licious. He's old. I mean, he was older, but he was playing a bunch of house music. Like he was traveling, doing his thing, XYZ. But he had these old turntables, bro. These old plastic turntables. I still have them. Like, because sometimes it's just nice to like look at your things. Like, damn, I used to come from that.
I got my first controller like on one of my shelves.
As you should.
Yeah.
As you should.
Yeah.
But he was like, yo, I got these turntables and some old house records if you want them. $200. So I'm like, all right, bet.
Yeah.
So here I am. I got these fucking turntables. And,
when did DVS come out? When did digital vinyl? Was that like 2008, 2010?
Like Serato itself?
Yeah. So Serato, but like time code, the DVS, digital vinyl. So you have controlled vinyl. Yeah, time code.
Bro, it was like 06, 07.
06,
Like,
okay.
Serato has been around for a really long time.
Yeah,
There are DJs who I know. Like I guess there was another program that competed with Serato for a little bit. Have to research it.
Huh.
But so I met him, and then I bought, at the time you needed a Serato box.
Yep, you did that external.
And it basically, for those who don't know what a Serato box is, a Serato box basically takes the Serato signal from the record. So the record has an actual like sound wave on it that the computer picks up and thinks it's that song. But you needed a Serato box. Otherwise, if you plugged your turntables into the mixer, it would just play this beep.
Yep. Yeah. This is flashback right there.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah,
bro. Crazy.
Trying to set it up for the first time. Why is it like ringing kind of? Like, what the hell is this? But I forgot because prior to these newer controllers, these newer mixers, they didn't have that built into the hardware. So there was the external Serato box. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And at the time, the only mixer that had built-in that had the built-in interface was the Rain 57,
Yes.
and everybody had a Rain
It
57.
was like the lighter gray and the black, or the
Yeah,
dark gray and the black.
yeah, and I think I still have one.
Yeah.
I have an old. I mean, yeah, I have one at my in my house somewhere, but it was like $2,000, and you ain't getting that as a college student. Like, so I bought a Serato box
Mm-hmm.
for like $300 or $400 off of I took some extra money I had off of KSL, and like that was like the beginning of that journey for me.
You're building.
Yeah, like building. But this is where like guys like Del Maggio and Jarvis come in. Like Jarvis, like honestly, kind of like took me under his wing, and like I met. So let me rewind. So I met Del Maggio 2012, and then he was coming down doing events for us in Utah County XYZ. Like he was getting us on his list in Salt Lake City, showing us mad love, right? And then U92 had this event. It would have been 2013 because how long have it was New Year's going into 2013, and they had this event where Bobby Brackens came out and headline. You remember this? It was over at the Old Infinity Event Center.
Yeah.
And like there were a few other artists, and like I got my shot to open. So like all thanks to Del Maggio. But then through there, I met this guy named Jarvicious because like at the Infinity Event Center, they had a room next door. So on Thursdays they would do country nights.
Yes,
right?
I remember this.
You remember this?
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other side, there was this side. It was called Combustion Thursdays. So we were playing open format shit, and that's where I met Jarvicious. And like Jarvicious is like the smoothest DJ ever.
He's so talented.
Like really talented. People sleep on this guy, but like really talented DJ. Like man. So like when I say he took me under his wing, like he really took me under his wing, looked out for me like a major way. So it would have been 2013. It was when it was when the UTA train opened up from Utah County that runs between Utah County and Ogden.
Mm-hmm.
So because we're in college, how UVU worked is you paid $120 for the year for your bus card, and it worked for the tracks, it worked for the train, it worked for the buses. It didn't matter.
Anywhere.
So you could get anywhere you wanted for $100 for a year. So I'm like, done. So I have these turntables that I'm carrying and my mixer in my backpack sticking out, and I'm just like, and I'm on the fucking train with them, getting off on 600 South. Excuse me, over here on 600 West, where all the homeless people are, and I'm just like fucking
right by
around,
in the venue.
Right by in
I
the
remember
venue.
you're playing there for some time too, brother.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, damn.
But like, so I'm just like walking by. All right, I'm gonna go hop on the fucking tracks, and then I hopped on the tracks, and tracks would take me all the way. I would boop 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 boop, hop off and walk all the way over to Infinity Event Center, DJ for like 2 hours, and then have to be back,
bruh.
Be back to the train station by like, I don't know, like 11 to catch the 11:20 train.
Oh, were you playing the opening set?
Yeah, bro.
So you would get on the tracks.
Yes.
From Utah County all the way to downtown Salt Lake to go play an opening set, and then you immediately pack up and then leave so you can get a ride back home. Damn.
And this was pre-Lyft, Uber, everything.
Yeah, of course. So but like
yeah.
Where are the homies that let you crash, or like didn't you want to like stick around and
I wanted to, but like I'm very stubborn in a sense of like if I don't need help, I'm not gonna ask for it.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'd rather, because I feel like sometimes people kind of like throw that shit in your face. You know what I'm saying? Like like subliminally, like I feel like sometimes people would do a favor for you and expect that shit back automatically.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And like with me, like if I do a favor for you, I don't expect anything.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Just like I don't just like don't embarrass me. Like
okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like
okay.
But what's crazy though? So it's 2013. Yeah, 2013. So I'm doing this every Thursday. I meet this girl called Amanda, and she just kind of started hanging out, XYZ, blah blah blah, and then she actually would give me a ride home too. Nothing ever happened. She's LDS. You know what I'm saying? Like we were just friends. Like
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
literally just friends. I'm still a RA at this time too. So like I'm doing a lot of shit. Like
I'm trying to imagine how you're balancing being an R. The expectations may be different in Utah County. I don't know, but
yeah.
it's just funny. You're toggling back and forth between DJing here a lot, DJing there a lot, being a college student,
Yeah.
and being an RA.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Yeah.
Amanda.
Yeah. So, so she would give me a ride back, XYZ, and then this one specific Thursday, we're driving, like we get there and she's like, she brings this girl on stage. It's like, hey, I want to introduce my friend. He's a DJ, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay, dope. Oh, hi, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. Guess who that girl was? It's my wife. I promise you.
Thank you for going there, man. That's awesome.
So 2013, like.
So it was Amanda's friend at an event you were spinning.
But yeah, her and Amanda weren't really friends like that. Like they were just like, so my wife used to be like, she's into dancing, like not like strip dancing, but like b-boy dancing.
Okay.
Like she can dance.
Yeah.
But like that's how her and I got introduced, because Amanda was hanging out with the b-boys and b-girls.
That's dope.
So like they would come out every Thursday, XYZ, whatever. So I mean, yeah, I definitely slid in her DMs first.
You didn't ask her for a number?
Nah,
you connected
Facebook.
on MySpace, right?
Nah, this was Facebook.
Oh,
damn, I'm not that old.
I had MySpace. I had MySpace, bro.
But I mean, like, I had MySpace, but this was Facebook. So
man.
we linked up and like we started hanging out. But then like she would give me a ride every Thursday, so now I could hang out the whole night. Dude. And then this was the thing until it eventually, Combustion Thursdays eventually died.
You two grew together. Wow.
Yeah, we've been rocking. It'll be like 9 years. Damn, 9 years in like March.
I love to hear that, man.
You know what I'm saying? Shit is crazy.
Remind me her name.
Alyssa.
Yeah. Thank you. I don't know. We maybe talked something of this nature once over the years, but I don't know anything about her. But that's amazing. It's really cool to hear as your friend, but also B, like, I'm intrigued because I want to know more about Alyssa and what she does, because what you do as a profession and a career is very unique and very different.
Yeah.
And it sounds like there's some overlapping passion with b-boy and hip hop and dancing. But I just think it's very unique. One of the guests we had in last week was telling me about the dynamic with his wife and being married now for 2 years and managing that relationship, and also keeping the business moving and making some really big growth, and being able to do it in a way that manages and maintains a healthy relationship. So to hear that, y'all are 9 years now, and you met at an event.
9 years, but yeah.
No, together for 9 years. Together for 9 years. That's awesome to hear, man.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, just on that, it's very much I keep my business separate, so she doesn't come out. You know what I'm saying? And also, when we first like started, I was just like, hey, just so you know, this is what I'm doing, and
you made that clear.
Like, yeah,
expectations clear,
and that's what I would encourage any young DJ who's in a relationship, male or female. You know what I'm saying? Like, let your significant other know this is my passion, and if you can't deal with it, then. Like, because at that point, like, it's on, like, you have to be upfront.
Yes.
Like, you have to. Like, I cannot stress that enough. It's like where a lot of people, like, there's always going to be females in the club. You know what I'm saying? And if you're a female DJ, there's always going to be males in the club. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always going to be that in the club. So it's just like, just setting that expectation, just so you know, this stuff is always, it's going to be a constant. So just, and set that expectation, and it's cool. And
dude, that's probably one of like the biggest like golden nuggets I've gotten in the podcast. Bang, I don't know how much you've listened, but in these episodes, like, yes, I want to provide some entertainment value. I want to share a little bit of my story, and I really want to dive deep into my friends' stories like yours. but I also want to provide some form of educational value for beginner DJs, intermediate DJs, people in the entertainment industry, or even just entrepreneurship as a whole. So that is gold.
Yeah.
And I'm taking it as advice myself.
For
I'm not in
sure.
that position, but I'm taking it as advice myself.
For sure.
Bang, we maybe have like 5-7 minutes left.
Oh shit! And we're only in 2014.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
So
sorry.
no, you're fine. I didn't preface as much as I could have, but we're aiming to have episodes about 25-30 minutes.
Okay.
If you could, Bang. So obviously we're 2014. There's still a lot
Yeah.
of ground to cover.
Yeah.
Now on turntables.
Yeah.
And starting to play some opening sets. If you could tell me, in a few minute or two, like how the rest of the story kind of pans out, and that growth within the radio, and then even transitioning into producing now, and
For sure.
kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah. So short story, met Jarvicious. He was working in radio. He was a promotions assistant, and then he got promoted to promotions director. And he was like, "Hey, I need a promotions assistant." At the time, I'm still living in Utah County. I'm not doing school. Actually, no, that's a lie. I won't bullshit you. I got academic probation.
Dude, I got that my first year, bro.
Because of the
Well, I could name it. I could blame it on a lot of things, but I got the same thing too, bro.
Academic probation. Whatever. Took like 2 semesters off. Ended up at Slick, so I was already driving up this way. So then, me and wifey, we moved up. We moved up to South Salt Lake, Mill Creek area. And then I took a full-time job as a promotions assistant. From there, I met Eroccalypse. And I told him, like, hey, man, like, I don't know if you're looking for DJs, but if you are, like, I would love to come out and mix remotes. So he got me on remotes. I did a remotes, like, a month after asking him and stuff like that. And, like, everything just kind of snowballed. I was doing remotes. And then there was an opportunity where one of the DJs couldn't record their mix. So like, hey, Bang, do you want to mix this weekend? And I'm like, and the mix was due in like an hour. Like 2 hours.
How stoked were you?
Bro, it was nerve-wracking as shit.
Of course.
Here's the thing. I was at Crimson Nights. So I recorded
Did you record
mix at Crimson Nights, bro.
Go,
like
dude.
before. So I got there like 7 o'clock and like I texted Marcus ahead of time, like, hey man, can I at least get like a monitor set up just so I can record my mix? He's like, yeah, no problem. Got you. So like,
So I'm understanding right. You're set at Crimson Night.
No. This was before the night even started.
Oh, okay. So right before your set, you recorded that mix that went on air.
That went on air like 9 o'clock.
And you sent
that
it to
night.
him.
Yeah, I
that's
emailed
so
it to him.
sick. You didn't even get to listen to it.
Yeah, I know.
Damn. That'd be the first thing I want to do. I'd tell all my friends and family, like, yo, tune in to U92.
Yeah.
It's popping off at 9 p.m.
Yeah, and then like a few weeks later, like something similar happened where like the DJ couldn't do it, so I started DJing on the 9 o'clock block party.
Yo.
So I was DJing Thursdays and Friday nights. But in that time, like, and then once again, it just kind of snowballed. Like one thing led to another. We had some changes. I started actually voice tracking or I had a night show on Mix 105.1 so I had a night show on Mix 105.1, and then I was still mixing on U92. And then the mix stuff kind of like fizzled out, and then like we had like management change over on the U92 side, and then they put me on overnights, and then from overnights on U92 because I was just tracking and getting my like
experience reps in.
Just getting my reps in, which is super important. Like, so then they're like, all right, bet, why don't you do nights? So then I started off doing nights on U92 on top of DJing. But like during this time, like I had also, I don't remember exactly. In the venue, how I got into in the venue. So I was DJing. It might have been a Sigma Chi party because they used to rent out in the venue every year for a Halloween party, and or was it Sigma Nu? Either
Sixes, yeah.
So the manager was there. He's like, "Yo, you're fucking dope. Can I have you on Fridays?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So. In the venue, if you didn't know, like their Friday night, it was an 18+ LGBTQ night.
Yes.
Which was like so out of my wheelhouse, but it taught me record pools,
dude.
Record pools,
dude. You're bringing up a deep memory. So sorry, I have to share this with you.
You're good.
It was my first year at the U. I'm living on campus,
Mhm.
and I got my RA too.
Mhm.
And I had made all my friends in my dorm, and I remember, like one of my homies is spinning in the venue. He's a really good DJ. Like, let's go. So
Mhm.
I got some of my roommates,
Yeah.
and we went, or roommates, people in my wing or whatever.
Yeah.
And we go there, and we didn't realize it was LGBTQ night. But then we also saw our RA just like going so hard, like dancing in the cage and whatnot. Like, it was amazing. We were not expecting any of this, but it turned out
Yeah.
to be like a super fun night. So
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that, and you were there regularly.
Yeah, every
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
that set taught me a lot because that was a 9 p.m. set to 2 a.m. 9 p.m. to 2 a.m.
That's a very long
That's
set. Yeah.
5 hours of DJ,
Yeah.
not repeating shit.
No.
So
No.
like that's a level of DJing. But once again, it taught me like because of that situation, like my library is deep. Because like any DJ, if there's a few things I can leave y'all with, I know I talk a lot. Like we could go for
No,
like
I
2 more
appreciate
hours.
it. I appreciate it.
But like always be ready. You know what I'm saying? If you're set, it's 2 hours. Be prepared to play the whole night. You should always be prepared to play the whole night. And the reason why is because technology, as much as we rely on it, that shit can be inconsistent. You know, like there have been nights where like I've had to play Sky past my opening set, which was like 11:30. So how I got into Sky was I met some people. Like I met this guy named Ian Hiscock. That's my bro. Like that's my boy. Like that's my guy. Like we go back. He was rocking with this dude Asher, which Everett's. He lives in Portland now. But me and Asher met in Utah County. We met January of 2012 when what's his face left, when Jordan left. He had just got back from his
Jordan
mission.
Nelson. Yeah.
But like Asher was telling me, I used to DJ in Colorado, Idaho, all this other stuff. Da 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 da. I like Asher. He used to make the weirdest fucking music though, like the weirdest like dubstep. He'll tell you.
Produce?
Yeah, produce.
Okay.
But he makes like house music now, and his stuff is dope. I'll show you
Okay.
guys
All right.
afterwards. But I met him through Ian. So and then Ian like worked. He was working over at Sky, and like their Saturday nights are open format, and like they needed an open format DJ. Like they just needed openers because they were bringing national guys, out of towners. So I got my opportunity, killed it. But what really helped me and like for any younger DJ, know everything about the industry you're in. So if you're a DJ, know everything about every piece of equipment. And the reason why is because you need to be able to troubleshoot problems on the fly.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like if an out of towner is coming into your club, you need to be able to assist them with their transition. Like back then, we didn't have like S9s and stuff. So like to transition, you'd have to have a third CDJ, cue a song up on that, switch out the laptops, switch the Serato
Didn't have
box.
the A or the B.
You didn't have that shit.
Yeah.
So like you really had to learn how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So like even though we have technology now, if you're a younger DJ, do your research on how to do it like a proper transition. Because even to this day, like, in fact, not too long ago, we had to plug in a Serato box. And like, I'd almost kind of forgot.
There's like a backup.
Just as a backup to get the other DJ going. But I started opening there, and like it went from like once a month, once every other month to once a month to twice a month to all of a sudden, bang, is here every Saturday. Because I was just like that consistent. Like,
And you're talking Sky, correct?
Yeah, I'm talking Sky now,
dude. I remember, seeing the first couple flyers with you being the headliner. I'm like, yo, that's so dope. Like,
and that was crazy.
That's my man.
Thank
like,
you, man.
I'm serious.
Thank you.
Despite our paths not crossing as much as like it normally could have, or it could have, like it's dope to see your friends grow.
Thank you.
And like. You're now consistently doing stuff out of the state.
Thank you.
And probably not sleeping very much.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, espresso.
So I got the espresso.
Yeah, the espresso. But
God. Sorry.
No. You're good. But
Same
like
thought.
DJing at Sky taught me so much. And the reason why is because in Salt Lake City, our nightlife isn't what it is. Like it isn't isn't a Vegas, isn't a San Diego, isn't a LA. You know what I'm saying? Isn't a Chicago, it's not a New York.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys, these national guys, they play these rooms. So when they come, they bring that type of energy, right?
Mhm.
So imagine being able to watch guys and girls for 2 years, 3 years, actually, yeah, 3 to 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Every Saturday, watch them how they DJ. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Watch
homework.
how that's homework. But not a lot of people want to do that shit. People like I've noticed this, especially with a lot of the younger cats. Like it's all, oh, I got a headline here. That's great,
The next better opportunity.
right? And
Yeah.
it's like that's great. But like my advice to any another gym, like was I don't know if it's a gym, but like if you have the opportunity to like meet an OG DJ and like they're willing to like show you things and like
Mhm.
put you on game. Like my guy DJ Karma, like that's my big bro from Vegas. I've learned so much from that man about DJing, just
Mm.
about life, the industry.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like how to hold a room. There's another guy, DJ Fashion, out of LA. But he started in radio in Arizona, moved to LA. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Been doing like Fashion rocked with DJ AM.
Hmm.
Like there's photos of him and DJ AM like rocking parties together. Steve Aoki. A lot of people don't know this. Steve Aoki used to be an open format DJ. Steve Aoki used to play punk music. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
people don't know that, but like these are like the pedigree of like these national guys,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. 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 I'm
Um
following.
but like there was one night in specific, like in specific, I watched Fashion. Like the dance floor was just like blah. But I watched this man pick this room up and like
That's dope.
take it from like it might have been like 100 people in there, which 100 people in the club is like, all right, bet it's a lot of people. But like at Sky, because it's so
Yeah, you
big,
can fit 1,000
exactly. But
selling it
like
out. Yeah.
exactly. So like I watched him pick that up, but like it's little things like that. Karma did the same thing a few times. You know what I'm
What?
saying?
Yeah. What was the song choice? The timing? How and when did they choose to interject on the mic? Like, what techniques and strategies did they use to
Yeah.
pick that up from like a 4 or a 5 to bring it all the way up to a 10
I mean,
and make
just
the most of it?
honestly, just
Yeah.
like playing high energy shit and just interacting with the crowd. Hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna have some fun tonight. Blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah. Cause like, all right,
But that's what you were learning by staying after
exactly,
and learning from these other DJs, whether they're local or they're touring from out of state.
exactly.
Gotcha.
So you mix that, and then on
Gotcha.
top of that, like with my experience of DJing UVU and the U, and I even used to DJ some stuff for Snow College.
Yes. No, bro. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. I love Snow College. Oh, I love Snow College.
Hmm.
But
Always down to have some fun. I've only been out there once, but
bro, Snow College is a turn up.
yeah.
But like I had already kind of like had the ingredients because these are big rooms,
Ingredients,
big
bro.
energy. You know what I'm saying? Like
I like that.
I look at DJing like we're all chefs. We all have the same ingredients. We all have access to the same ingredients, but how you cook it is different.
What are you bringing to the pot?
Exactly. Like how we cook it is different, you know?
Yeah.
So like I was already kind of halfway there, but then like watching how these guys put their shit together was like, I can do that. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, like it's intimidating. Like, I tell you what, like headlining a nightclub is so damn intimidating. Like that first time you do it, it's like, what the do I do? Because you're just up there and people are like low key, like looking at you. Are you gonna do this?
Remember the XSI parties that
Yeah.
Marcus Swing used to throw?
Yeah.
So I remember he messaged me on Facebook. This is the first year I got into DJing.
Mhm.
He's like, "Hey, will you play an open set for me?" And I just lost it. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
I practiced. I wrote down on a piece of paper, like the order of the songs and like when I should transition to because I was so nervous and I wanted to do as good of a job as I was capable of. Granted, that was many years ago, but
Yeah.
I've had a few opportunities to like open and whatnot in clubs and have played in a few like headlining, not clubs, maybe bar, whatever.
Yeah.
But it is intimidating and
Yeah.
and like I think being able to navigate those nerves in a way that gets you psyched to absolutely crush your set and connect with the crowd is what sets those DJs apart.
Right.
I'm by no means great at it. I'll tell you that right now. Like I still
Not
get
yet.
very nervous. Not yet. We're building.
We're manifesting.
I'm
that.
done with school and it's full time.
Okay,
So,
good. You want to play a Sky sometime?
I'm there. I literally have
bet.
I'll text you a picture when I get home. I have a goal that I wrote on my mirror or on my wall like 2 years ago. Headline this guy.
Okay.
I played 2 opening sets.
Okay.
And E-Rock and Dirty Dave got me in there.
Yeah. Just
But
keep you on.
anyways,
Nah,
I'm getting sidetracked.
nah, you're good, fam.
Bang. So here's the deal.
Okay.
I think there's so much more we can talk about.
Yeah.
Are you game to do like a part 2,
Yeah, bro.
like
I mean,
sooner than later too?
I'm down. Like, I don't know what your schedule is. We could like cut part 2 tonight. I don't care.
I just want to be mindful of
Oh
Mr. Nora
yeah,
over
I'm
here,
sorry.
brother.
I'm like volunteering
No.
your time. Be like, man, what the fuck?
You good, homie. You good.
What are your thoughts, Nicholas?
Uh,
It's oh my god, it's almost 9. Um, probably another night. Yeah,
I'm good
schedule
either
part 2.
way. Like
whatever works with your schedule, man.
I could talk for like 2 more hours.
If you
So
want to come back in another time,
let's do it.
Okay.
Let's
Because
do it.
I'll have you back another time. You can
Let's
come
do it.
here whenever you want.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
do it.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like, and I'm trying to like, of course, navigate the conversation for the podcast, but like straight up, I genuinely think there's a ton more we can talk about because I have questions. I have questions like specific things I wanted to go, but this whole time, walking through the journey, like there's a lot of value and like even like enjoyable entertainment components to it too. But bang, let's do another episode.
Definitely.
I want to hear more about the growth and expansion in the clubs.
Absolutely.
And spinning on air,
Yeah.
traveling to DJ. I think that's almost a whole episode in itself.
Yeah.
And then of course producing because
Yeah.
that's where you spend a lot of time.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just let me know. I appreciate y'all for having me. For real.
If you could leave the people with one other thought or
Sure.
piece of advice, say to a beginning DJ or
To a beginning.
someone
DJ?
who's wanting to get into clubs or someone who's toying around the idea of producing, what'd you leave them? Leave them with
Timing. Instagram, well, just not even Instagram. Social media has a way of thinking that everything happens right now. When I tell you it doesn't, it does not. You know what I'm saying? Like, people will buy fake likes, fake followers, and for some people it may work, But like, the biggest thing I would say is take the time to learn every single thing you can. Because when you are called, that may be your last opportunity. Like there are so many DJs, like there are certain DJs who I know, like, like they've done like the fake route XYZ, and like they've had their opportunities, but it's come and gone because like, well, you look like you look the part, but your skills don't act like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, take the time to learn how to do things. Like, I've only been like producing seriously since like I think I first got Ableton Intro in like 2019 or something like that. Actually, no, it was 2018, and like kind of toying around with it. But then like pandemic really picked that up for me. But like taking the time, like all I did in pandemic was like watch tutorials and like ask friends for things. But like
you're doing homework.
Exactly, like do your homework, take the time, like build your playlist. Like don't compare yourself to other people because you're gonna drive yourself crazy. And like I used to do this a lot, but like you cannot do that. Like take the time to learn, and if you're a good person, your opportunity will come. Like you just gotta once again put in the work and be ready. Like that's what I mean, and we'll talk about this on the next episode. But like, for me, like I feel like I've gotten the opportunities to travel or the opportunities to do different things is because like I sat down and like actually studied my OGs. A lot of people don't know this, but like, bro, I'll go to Vegas, not tell anybody, not post anything, and just go for like a day and just watch DJs and take notes and see how they do things. Take the time, especially if you have the opportunity, like. So sometimes I'll reach out to my homies like, hey, I'm in town. Can I come kick it with you? Like, not even on some like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but just really like take the time and I mean, it sounds real corny, but trust your process, trust the process. But like, really like understand that like things will happen. And once again, if you're a good person, it will happen. I promise you. I promise you. And like, don't let people will talk down or like people will try to just like there are people who when I first got on Blackout Artists, there are people who talk down on that accomplishment. And we're like, oh well, it doesn't matter. You're at the bottom of the totem pole. Like Blackout Artists is agency that books DJs. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, sure, I might be on the totem pole at the bottom of the totem pole, but there's more value than being in the club than not being in the club at all. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Like what they say? How you gonna hit from outside of the club? You can't even get in. Like,
Shit.
but you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's trust your timing and like understand that like there's something you can pull from every single situation,
Mm-hmm.
and that in every single of aspect of life, or well in life, but also in this industry. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and also understand that like not everybody's going to be the next Tiesto or
Yeah.
the next DJ Vice. It's
Yeah.
like finding where you
Mm-hmm.
fit in. Like I've been blessed enough to have opportunities to be able to travel and do everything, but I also know I'm not gonna be able to do this shit forever.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm like dipping into producing. So it's just like really kind of like take your time, but also be open to ideas and shit too. Like always be willing to grow. And if you can do that, like sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm. I think specific to the industry, very, very applicable.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there are multiple golden nuggets within that I think are very applicable outside of the entertainment industry and
Mm-hmm.
DJing. Um, I'm stoked for the next episode.
Yeah, man.
I'm kind of bummed we got to do
Sorry.
we got to do it another day. But I should have done a better job like coordinating. I love like how deep we're getting into it, but
Yeah.
we can continue this on another day. So
Yeah, for sure.
Bang, where can we get your where can we listen to you? Where can we follow you?
Instagram, Twitter, Bangarang the DJ, DJBangarang.com.
Bangarang the DJ, DJBangarang.com.
Yeah.
Nick North, thank you for your patience.
For real. Sorry, bro.
Listeners, listeners,
I'm a
viewers, thank
rambler.
you for hanging tight. This has been a really cool episode for me and for all the DJs, whether you're in Utah or outside. I'm sure you've been enjoying this as much as I have as well. So we'll get part 2 down the road in a little bit.
Yeah.
We're gonna get scheduled, but we'll be on the lookout for part 2 with Bangarang. Behind the Energy Podcast. That's it. That's a wrap. Peace.
Peace.
Time flies when you're having fun, bro.